a mysterious place on the hills of Tropea. Soon it will be 43 years since the time of the first apparition of Jesus in Tropea. It was on July 21, 1982, when a gentleman from Tropea, Giuseppe Ostone, said that he had seen, together with his wife, while he was picking oregano in the Barone di Caria area above Tropea, a man in a white suit. This is how Giuseppe Ostone described in a book he published a few years ago what he said he had experienced on that summer afternoon. On July 21, 1982, I went with my wife to pick oregano in the countryside of Caria, a village above Tropea, in the south of Italy. We were about 20 meters apart, and at a certain point while I was bent over on the ground, I heard a noise and then a rustling on the grass. After some hesitation, I turned back and found myself face to face with a man taller than me, dressed in white, wrapped in a cloak with long, wavy hair, a face framed by a thin beard that made him particularly extraordinary. The sash he had on his waist was so bright that it shone with light. I immediately realized that it was an apparition. Meanwhile, my wife, who had guessed everything, approached. After a few moments, she said, "We're leaving, there's not much oregano." He was in the middle of us. He took a step forward, and with a circular gesture of his arm and a reassuring and very sweet voice, he replied, "There's a lot." Then he continued to walk, with a light step that touched the ground. At the same time, my wife and I both exclaimed, "It's Jesus, it's Jesus." As he walked away, we followed him with our eyes for about 20 meters. Then he disappeared. That distant July of 1982 was the beginning of a series of mysterious events that continued massively until the late 90s. Obviously, as happens in such cases, the news of those mysterious episodes spread rapidly throughout the Tropea area, so much so that even today that place is commonly nicknamed Apparition of Jesus. In the alleged place of the apparition, Mr. Ostone, together with other believers, built a small altar on top of which was placed a statue of the Sacred Heart of Jesus. Obviously, the church, rightly, has never spoken out on the matter. But whether it was apparitions or invented stories, many people after that first episode witnessed other visions and, according to them, healings, like a lady from Rombiolo who, according to her story, regained her sight after dreaming of touching the grass with her hand at the place of the first apparition. A gentleman from Mileto, a certain Nicola Cura, also claimed to have seen Christ the King several times in that place. In the little book written by Ostone, many episodes of alleged apparitions linked to that place are reported, including, in addition to the two mentioned, the fact testified by Mrs. Maria Carmela Rombola, who in 1991, while observing the breathtaking panorama together with her daughter, noticed strange movements in the sun while her daughter said she saw the Madonna. Finally, in 1990, on Holy Saturday, Gregorio De Vito testified to having seen tears of blood coming down from the statue of Christ. One thing is certain, whether they were real or invented visions, that place is still very evocative today. That statue of Christ. Among the centuries, old olive trees continues to attract devotees and simply curious people who have heard about the place and what is said. Some time ago, a strange episode occurred in connection with that place. In mid-August, a family of tourists consisting of a father, mother, and their little son showed up in front of the Bar di Caria, expressing their great desire to visit the place of the apparitions. In front of the bar, a local boy explained that the place existed, but that currently, due to the work on the Variante di Caria under construction, it was difficult to reach unless accompanied by local people. The boy, noticing the insistence with which the man asked to be accompanied to the apparitions, decided to accompany that family to the Barone area. But then, as soon as the group arrived at the area, something strange happened. Having left the car on the Variante track and walking among the centuries, old olive trees, towards the place where a small altar commemorates the alleged apparition of Jesus, the lady began to feel ill, sweating and labored breathing, as well as a visible state of agitation. The closer they got to that place, the more the lady's discomfort increased, as she became agitated and raved in a visible way. The husband, seeing the woman's reaction, but also in order not to frighten the already visibly affected child, decided not to continue, but to immediately turn back on the road home. The man then confided to the boy from Korea that it was not the first time that his wife had complained of disturbances of this kind, and that those disturbances punctually appeared every time the wife approached something that had to do with the sacred. The desire to visit that place where it was said, and is said, that Jesus appeared, was motivated by the fact that the husband no longer knew what to do to free the woman from that discomfort. Before leaving Caria, the man confided that their next stop would be Rome, the eternal city, to ask for help from some men of the church. Why did the woman feel that way? Is there really something mysterious in that place surrounded by olive trees? Story by Francis Pugliese, translated from Italian by Pilgrim Site, filming by Pilgrim.